Today, Sarah and I are going to make one of the more challenging breads, the baguette, and it's a 2-day process. Here, we're gonna have some flour and equal amount of water. We're gonna mix all this up, and then this will rest on the countertop overnight. And tomorrow it will be nice and bubbly and airy. And this is what you will incorporate in the final dough. You just want to make sure that there is no dry flour left. And now we're going to place it in this food-safe container. And this is where it will rest all night long at room temperature. Just as a comparison, I'm going to show you the one that we made last night, and that's the exact same amount. And you can see as to how nice and airy it is. Now this one we'll cover up and we'll set it on the counter. As for the final dough, now that our poolish is ready, we're going to take what water is left over and pour it all along the edges of the poolish, and this will enable the poolish to slide out much more easily. So you will see as to how easily the poolish will just slide out. And then with my scraper, we're gonna get what's left in the bottom. I reserve just a little bit of water for later on when we will add the salt. Now it is time to put the yeast in. And here we have some pasta di riporto, some dough that was left over from the last bake, and this will add so much great flavor to it as well. So if you have it, great. If you don't, that's okay. But whenever you make baguette, keep a little bit in the refrigerator and add it to the dough. So here we're gonna put the yeast in to get it nicely hydrated. We're also gonna put this dough in as well. And now with my hands, we're going to incorporate all the ingredients. I almost forgot. Here is some barley malt syrup. We're going to incorporate that as well. I should have done that sooner with the water, but that's okay. We're going to bring it in and knead all this together. As you can see, I still have not added the salt. We're going to wait to add the salt later. The dough is coming together. Of course, you could do this in the mixer, in the stand-up mixer with a dough hook, but sometimes if you over mix it, do you know that the dough can oxidize? And instead of being this pretty yellow color, it actually gets bleached and turns white. And it gives an end result that is kind of flavorless. Now we're gonna sprinkle the salt on top. And the leftover water, and this will really help me to incorporate the salt. And waiting to put the salt in also helps with not affecting the yeast, because the yeast being in direct contact with the salt would kind of lose its strength. You see as to how shaggy this dough still is and not smooth at all? We are going to cover it up and allow it to rest for about 10 minutes, and then the magic will begin to happen. Let's peek. It doesn't look a lot different, but now I'm going to wet my hand and you will see already as to how much more the dough comes together. In this case, I'm just kind of cupping my hand and tucking it under, but you could also stretch it and fold it and go around this way. And the reason I'm kind of shaking it like this is I want to wait until there is a bit of resistance. I don't want to rip any of the gluten strands that are already there. And now I'm going to put it down again and allow it to rest for another 10 minutes. All right, another 15 minutes are up. I'm going to show you something. If I just touch the dough with my bare hand without getting it wet, look what happens. Instead, if I wet it just a little bit, there's nothing there. That's why I use just a bit of water. And again, you can see as to how nicely the dough is coming together. It's nice and smooth. Now, we could also put it on our work surface I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour, and here we can work it this way. We let it rest for the third time, and once again, we'll give it a quick workout. And at this point, you can really see how nice and smooth our dough is. We will place it into this food-safe container, cover it up with a lid, and allow it to rise in the refrigerator overnight. Almost forgot, I wanted to show you the comparison. So this is the one we just put in, and this is the one that was able to rise overnight in the fridge. Let's see if you can see right here. This is where it finally was able to rise to, and here is the other one. Just gently dust our work surface, set this to the side, and then help it out just a little bit with this rubber spatula, and just allow the dough to come out. Our dough is out, and now we're going to be able to divide it and pre-shape it. We're going to measure it out. Perfect. Set it here. And here our dough has been divided. This little piece I am going to put in some plastic wrap and use it for the next bake. So now we're going to pre-shape it. I'm kind of going to tell the dough who's boss, and I'm already going to shape it in such a way that it's going to be easy for us to make the baguette, to shape the baguette. Here's the first one. Once again, I'm just going to put these corners in. Already begin to build some tension, and you see how it's already in the shape that it will need to be for a traditional baguette. We're going to set the dough right here on our work surface, cover it up, and allow it to rest before we actually shape it into a baguette. Our pre-shaped baguette have been able to rest, and we will need this baker's cloth or a couche, and that's where we're going to put the shaped baguette on. I'm going to very lightly dust the work surface, put it upside down, and then right in the center with this part of my hand, I'm going to press it down and then bring it in just like so. Turn it around, and once again we'll turn it in like this again. And now with this thumb, I'm going to fold it over, and with this part of my hand, I'm going to seal it. And so here we go with our first baguette. Now we're going to put our hands on top of it, starting up like this, and it's almost as if you were to put your hand gently on somebody's arm. So you don't squeeze, you just gently put it on there. So again like this, and from here we're going to roll it out. Now we're going to find the seam, which is right along here, and we're going to put this on the baker's cloth, just like so, with the seam looking up. We're just going to dust our baker's cloth, place our baguette right on top. We rolled it here just so we have a nice edge here, and then pull this edge up. So here we are. With this part of my hand, I'm just going to make an indentation right in the center, then put my hands like this and make one fold already, flip it around, do the same right here, and then with this thumb I'm going to press in and fold, and this is where I'm going to make a seam by hitting it again with this part of my hand, and this creates tension and makes a very nice seam all along. We're going to start rolling it out to the edges once again. And here is our baguette. You see the seam is right along here, and we're going to place it on the couche or the baker's cloth with this sitting on top. here are our baguettes comfortably resting on the couche. We're gonna cover them up with the rest of the couche and allow them to rest. And here they are. They have been allowed to proof once again. We have our peel ready. And we're gonna transfer the baguette right on here. We're going to make sure that they're nice and straight. And this is just a simple way of doing that. Plus, I want to make sure that they're about the same distance from each other. And now it is time to score them. Here is our lame. It's a blade that is, you see, it's kind of curved like this. So what we're really going to do is just get under the surface of the dough and make the cuts so that it will be able to have these beautiful ears that open up. One thing that is important to remember is imagine the bread being divided into thirds. So you do the cuts only on the center third. You don't want to go across this way. So you kind of have to do a decisive cut. I'm going to put my hand right here, starting from here. We're going to cut like this, then overlap it a bit, because if you don't overlap it, it's going to kind of have this strangled look. Let's open the door. We're going to place the baguettes at the back, and then with a decisive pull, we're going to pull them off of there. We're going to put some water in to create steam. We're also going to add some steam into the oven, just like so. Our baguettes are ready. And here we go. They're nice and crunchy and smell absolutely amazing. Now let's look here. You see a bit of an ear here, here as well. And now we're gonna open it up and see what the crumb looks like. And here is our crumb, and it looks very delicious. And we are going to wish you un buon appetito.